This is dope. Love when people do some creative shit like this.
Hello, Mr. Valentino. Mr. Costello.
Castillo, see.
Castillo.
How you doing?
Engineer Chavez. Well, yourselves. Thank you for picking up the SIM card, Mr. Valentino.
Yeah, no
I was
worries.
afraid you were circling a little too often, but we found it eventually.
Yeah. So you were seeing me the whole time, eh?
Try to keep my eyes on what's important. Now, Mr. Chavez has already been talked to a little bit about this, but I'm going to make you think a little bit more. I have some questions to see where you end up and if you end up in the same place that I do.
Gotta cut the
The
music.
first question I have is, who runs San Andreas?
Who runs San Andreas? I think there's people who think they run San Andreas, but I don't know if they really run San Andreas.
The people with the power, senor.
Alright, and who would that be, in your eyes?
Well, there are several different powers currently playing a tug of war. There is the Justice Angel, who has positioned herself as judge, jury, and executioner, writing the laws, executing the laws, etc., etc. There is likewise this gentleman to the left of us, Senor Nino, who is a mayor and a man of much distinction, who with a simple phone call can rally many people to his side. There is then the criminal underworld and the leaders of each big gang who believe they have some power to dictate the whims of the city. And it seems as though all three of these are working in concert in this tug of war.
Now, you have, who gives Angel her power? Where does she get it?
The government.
Just the government? Let me ask you slightly differently. If you have, as part of the operation, product that you're not allowed to touch but is still usable, how do you get rid of it? How do you make it be worth something again?
So if I'm understanding correctly, there is a product which has value, but it's in the incorrect hands.
Yes.
Naturally, you would pass it to the hands who could make use of it and distribute and to use it.
And if you do that, and they use it for nefarious means, and you then reacquire it, would that not be beneficial?
Would that not be what? You said would that not be official?
Beneficial.
It's a little hard to understand you right now. I'm trying to. Your mask is a little fuzzy.
Brandon,
It does that, unfortunately.
chill, bro.
Would it be beneficial?
I would imagine, senor, if the person who is coming to could use it correctly, see, it would be beneficial. But what are you getting at? What is the point you are trying to drive home?
Well, in this city, you have two main factions that are constantly warring with each other. The criminals and the PD. The criminals can do crimes, get caught, lose their weapons, lose their drugs, and get shoved into an evidence locker, never to see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Is he implying what he think he's
Now
implying?
that is perfectly good products, guns, equipment, drugs, chemicals.
Are you hinting what I think you're hinting at, senor?
I think he's hitting at a secondhand market.
What happens if they can do it legally? What happens if a group can go into any PD in the country, take everything from their evidence lockers, and hold it, per se? Instead of holding it, they then strip it down, wipe the prints, clean the serial numbers off, and redistribute it to other cities.
I would think the person in possession of those things would be a very powerful and rich man.
Or a rich organization. Who in this country can go into any police department and grab their evidence from their evidence lockers, and no one bats an eye?
The marshals.
FIB.
The FIB. The FIB, at any point in time, can walk into any police department in this country, take the evidence, collect it, say it goes to a warehouse, and then it disappears. Because who's going to look for a gun from 4 years ago?
Not anybody that I could think of, senor.
No one's going to do it. There's no point in doing it. So what they do is they then take that gun, and I'm sure you two are well aware of what comes into the city on the regular. In bright red boxes almost wrapped up with a bow.
Ah, I'm starting to understand. So you're telling me that whenever we hear the horns blowing, that is just a piece of this larger puzzle?
Well, let me put it this way. If the FIB gets its power from law enforcement, and gets its influence from that as well, and criminals are committing more and more crimes, the FIB can turn to the public and ask for more money to then get more equipment to fight that crime, which they then catch. And isn't it so convenient that as the police departments tend to catch more and more criminals, new avenues for criminals to commit crime and just come into the city? But a month later, PD gets the equipment to handle it. And the cycle keeps going and going. Does crime ever really lower in the city, or does it always just keep rising?
No, senor, it never lowers. Instead, it snowballs, becoming more and more and more and more.
And the people on the back end keep filling the fucking pockets with all the money.
And if they're the ones who also are the ones who are providing that equipment to sell again to the criminals who want to buy it to do more crime, that they will then get caught with by the said people, doesn't that make it double dipping?
It's a never-ending circle of profits for these motherfuckers.
Are you telling me, however, that somebody in the FIB is doing this knowingly, understanding that the guns will end up in the wrong hands again?
And again, and again. Guns that you are getting in this city, probably from Vice City, Liberty City, or Las Venturas. The drugs, the seeds for weed, oxy, fentanyl, same thing. People being caught, different cities, and it just being transported over here.
This is crazy, bro.
This, as Mr. Chavez has seen a little bit of, city is meant to fail. He is not given the tools he needs to make this succeed. On purpose. Because so long as the FIB can point to this city and show, if you give us money and more money, crime is stopped. But they keep getting new things, and so we need more investment. We need more power. We need more influence. They start buying politicians. They start buying votes. Sooner or later, all we have is an authoritative state, disguised as a democracy.
So tell me, senor, if everything you say is true, which I do not doubt. What happens now? How can we be of assistance to you? Do you speak as a representative of this organization?
I speak for myself and myself alone. I hold there is no organization until this moment. There is no group until you all are brought along. The hardest part in all of this is finding evidence that this is happening. They are very clever at keeping it all hidden. As I'm sure you know, you have met many people in the city who just give you any example of an illegal activity. We have, let's see, any bridge over underneath over in Southside, dealing weed, sending people to go and sell weed. We have Nico Bellic at the chop shop. The PD knows both of these people exist, and yet they're never arrested. Why? They're doing illegal activities. They're organizing. And yet they are left alone.
It's because they facilitate the crimes for more people to do. So if they take him down, then it stops them from taking, numerous other people down. Yeah, but they be getting the big fish, but they're not getting all the little fish to swim around with it.
Except they don't even, you go after the big fish. Always. You go for as high up as you can until you can find out who's sourcing it. But they don't do that. Right now, what I need, is a group who is willing to put feelers out and see if other gangs and other people are interested in stopping to be used, to put their foot down. They can still commit some crime. That's never going to stop. But to try and force the FIB's hand, force those in power to panic as more goods flood this market. And they aren't getting paid for it.
I don't know what he's getting at, bro.
That's a tall order. It's not a simple order. It's not a simple goal.
When you say evidence, what type of evidence exactly? You looking for confessions? You looking for...
I'm looking... Confessions would help. Anyone who would be willing to speak about this would be great news. But the only way to win this is for the public to be on our side. It's for the public to see the citizenry that what is happening isn't because of the criminals and isn't even because of the police departments. They're done because someone higher up is laughing at death and destruction for the sake of death and destruction.
Let's say we are to put these feelers out. And let's say by a stroke of luck or some cleverness, we are able to gather some information regarding some of these figures in the FIB who are orchestrating these attacks, the guns and illegal stuff flowing in the market. What then, and how quick do you expect it? Do we contact you? Do you contact us?
The SIM card that you have in your possession is how you contact me. You will be paid for any information you provide.
May I double back to make sure I understanding correct? So the persons that are in charge of the FIB, they are incentivized to have crime in the city in order to keep getting a budget from the state to keep increasing their power. Am I following correct?
Correct.
The more violence, the more important the FIB is. The more money they need, the more power, the more they must grow. Big government. Is this correct?
Yes.
I understand. Do you have any names currently of these persons in the FIB? Or any leads?
Not in the city, no. Las Venturas would have been a different story. Here, I do not. My connections here were cut prematurely.
No. It is the fashion of government agencies to be extremely compartmentalized. Meaning the person at the highest top
Let me call you right back.
could be very
gotta
crooked, but the workers beneath
Right.
are not so. Are we to assume everyone in the FIB is complicit or only select figures at the very top?
Most. It's hard to tell the innocent from the guilty in this. Those who do the transport from PD to the warehouse, they don't know what's going on. Those in the warehouse do. Those in those office buildings do.
If
They're sending them. Paper trails exist.
Whoa, let's
Shipping
go.
manifests exist.
Let me ask you a question. What's your main motivation behind this?
Safety for the civilians. For everyone. I hate seeing people get used. I hate seeing people get hurt.
Fuck, Edgar wishes Edgar was alive.
With what is happening, everyone's getting hurt. Most are getting used.
let me
You
ask
know
you,
this the nature of the world, though, right? Happens all over the place, all the time. It's what happens. People get used. People rise up.
And it's, those people who have to rise up. But they have to know they're being used. And currently,
I don't think people
most
understand
don't.
how crazy this is.
let me ask you something, Senor Whisperer. Are we to assume, or should we assume, that any weaponry, as it increases in its ability to cause harm, for example, if missiles were to show up, would we be wise to credit it to this organization and the FIB?
yes. Meriwether supplies most of it. They handle it.
You seem to be, or rather, I don't think that you would have contacted us unless you sensed some grave danger and urgency. And I've had a premonition for some time that we are heading straight for something big and disastrous. Are you of a similar opinion?
Yes, they're getting antsy. The city is spiraling already.
Now, when we contact you, are we only to contact you when we have names, or we have any information about certain weapons coming into Los Santos?
Both.
What if I myself were to hypothetically be in possession of a missile? Would that be of interest to the Whisperer?
Very. Just a rocket launcher. What type of missile are we talking about?
I'm talking a missile, not some simple handheld rocket.
Mass
That would-
devastation type shit.
Oh. And they're just handing this to you?
I'm only speaking in hypothetical, senor.
Sure. Hypothetically, if I was to think like them, I would give you the premonition that I would be giving you a missile, when in fact, you're a decoy.
Can you say
You have
that?
something,
Can you repeat that?
you're a decoy for wherever the missile's going. Edgar, many would be a fool to trust you completely. With what you have done in the past,
That's exactly what the faceless said.
they would have to have you wrapped around their finger with so much blackmail and so much pressure. That you would have to, if they said to jump, you would jump. It strikes me that you are not that person. You would fight against that with all of your might.
And yet it is still possible that I may hypothetically come into possession of some of this
Sure.
stuff.
It is. But again, I would, in my opinion, not hand any sort of high-yield missile to
It's too
a
soon.
person who might use it in a way I do not wish.
See. The point of why I bring it up is, again, if we were to rally behind your cause, which we may be very inclined to do, and we are to contact you, I just imagining the nature of such information. What will we get in return? Is it just the satisfaction of knowing that we have helped the citizens of Los Santos?
More than likely you get to keep your life. What's going to eventually happen is most criminals will make so much money to the point where those in power feel threatened. And then they will send a strike team to eliminate said person, acquire all of their assets, and go back to playing God. That's the first part. The second part is you can still make a lot of money doing it. Keep your life, get to live your life comfortably. And then the third is you get to feel good that you did something good on top of it.
You didn't mention payment, bro.
So you don't work for anybody. You work for yourself.
Correct. Not been in the city for very long. 4 months.
All right. We're gonna talk and we'll be in touch. All right.
By all means. Also, as more of me being forward, if you do not want to, that's fine. Destroy this, let me know, destroy the SIM card or hand it back.
No, senor, we are extremely interested.
That's fine.
More than you
It's
will
just a
imagine.
precaution. The alternative is if you plan on doing anything else, betraying me, just do it to my face, put a gun to my head, and fire. I would much rather it be in person and up front than in the back.
Beast.
time goes, I'll share more. Because there is much more. But for now, for tonight, into this morning, we have a new start.
We'll be in touch.
Take care. Be safe. Watch your backs. They're starting to pay attention.